Hey kids, welcome to a brand new edition here of Sports Adrenaline, and you're going to see some changes on our show over the next few weeks, starting with today. We're excited to bring a couple new sponsors on board and give you a new fresh look and a few other segments that we've been talking about and finally implementing here. So I'm John Castanino, Matt Gutierrez here. Matt, ton to talk about today, clearly. We'll be heavy on the Golden Knights, as we should be during the season and enter the All-Star break here. Gerard Gallant said his team didn't wake up against the Wild. They woke up for two periods against the Nashville Predators yesterday, but they don't come out with a win. We'll talk about Brad Hunt leaving the team. We'll talk about Oscar Dance being added to the team. Does he even suit up for a game? We'll give the team a report card, Matty. How does that sound? I'm springing it on you.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a good idea. I mean, we're not technically at the midway point. Right. The All-Star break is considered the midway point, but
we'll reset.
Yeah.
And something that a lot of you probably watching, if you're a season ticket holder, price is going up again. Unless, of course, you made that 5 or 10 year commitment, then good for you to be able to put down for that. But we're going to talk about season ticket prices. 45% in 2 years.
That's a lot.
I'm already ranting. Runnin Rebels, 5-1 in the Mountain West Conference after they dominate New Mexico. Now the games get hard, starting with San Diego State this weekend, and of course Reno coming up here. We'll discuss that. Is it fool's gold, or are we starting to believe in this team? Maybe I am just a little bit. Super Bowl 53, of course, on tap. The Rams against the Patriots, and the Patriots lose back-to-back Super Bowls. I don't see how it happens, but we're going to talk some props too. William Hill has their props out, so we'll talk about some big ones here on the board. And, of course, officiating, everybody's favorite topic. Again, ton to talk about. And our new segments. Again, check out the rundown on that side. Good, I'm pointing the right way here. So you can follow along here. Golden Knights, Grimaldi's. Hey, we just gave away one of our sponsors. And Bad Beat Brewery. Yeah, we know we spelled brewery wrong. Fat thumbs. That's what I was told by Rich Giacovino, our producer extraordinaire. So we'll fix that on the fly. But that's the rundown, so stick with us as long as you can. Again, thanks for tuning in. And, of course, we want to hear your comments as we go along. We want you to chime in. And that's where, pointed the wrong way.
Figure it out,
bottom of the screen.
You'll figure it out.
What do we miss? The comments section. That's for you guys to chime in, okay? We're going to take your comments throughout the show. We want to hear from you. And again, we maybe pick the best comment. And eventually, I think we'll give something away each week to the best comment that we get every single week. And we know our regular commenters out there, some we probably wouldn't give that award to regardless. So.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. All right, Maddie, what's going on?
Some of them alone. Where do you want to start, man? Should we jump into the Knights?
Well, let's do that.
I mean,
it's first on the list.
Two regulation losses in a row, first time all season. Going into the break, maybe they need the break. They played so well after the Christmas break earlier in the year. They came out of that on fire, and maybe they just needed a break. But it's not like they're not playing well, right? Last night they looked great. What, they have 48 shots. 48 shots?
48 shots, Matt. 47 didn't get through.
Yeah. That's UC Soros has been insane against the Golden Knights going back to last season. He's now 3-0 against the Knights. What has he allowed? 2 goals, I think? If I remember right, I think he's allowed 2 goals in 3 starts against the Knights.
It was the last game before this one they gave up 1 goal.
Yep.
Was that last season? Don't know, but I know that he's been on fire, and I'm already correcting you. Look at the Sports Adrenaline 2.0, right. Back-to-back losses at home for the first time this season.
Yeah.
They did lose at the top of the season, right? I know they had a couple back-to-back.
First time at home. First time at home.
2-1. And Soros, 47 saves, career high. I will ask you this. Did the Golden Knights play better than the Predators last night? I think they did. I think they outplayed them for 40 minutes, and then 2 fluke goals kind of ruined that. Marc-Andre Fleury losing track of that second one completely.
Yeah.
And, it's just one of those games. I had people lashing out on social media. They looked great in the first 10 minutes of that game. Boy, they had at least a dozen shots on net or on goal towards the net. 5 of them were wide. 6 of them were on point, right? So they were firing on all cylinders. And I said they looked really jumpy, and they did. And somebody was like, that tweet didn't age well. I thought just outside the second period, they had a great game, and they outplayed Nashville.
Everybody assumes if you're not scoring, you're not playing well, and that's not necessarily the case. And we saw this a lot early in the season where they went through these stretches where they were completely dominating games, and they're out shooting people, and they'd walk away from the game losing 2-1 or 1-0 or whatever the case was. They just weren't able to finish at the net, and you saw a lot of that last night, and you saw some of that against the Wild the other night, which I don't think they played nearly as well against the Wild as they did against the Predators, but the result was the same. They came away with a loss. essentially a 1-goal loss. I mean, the empty netter at the end stretched it out a little bit, but even still, they were in that game throughout. They couldn't find a way to finish, and that's coming off 7 goals against Pittsburgh. So, I mean, sometimes you just run into hot goaltending. Sometimes it doesn't bounce your way.
Yeah. So the Golden Knights, they've lost 4 out of 6 going into the All-Star break. Before that, they won 9 out of 11. And I think they had points in 20 out of 25. I mean, something obscene. So those of you that are kind of sour, and I get 4 losses are going to do that. This team has played excellent for the most part here in the middle half of the season outside those first 20 games. I don't have a problem with the way they've been playing hockey at all. Looking at the game, you have to look at the fight, right? And you guys have seen it on social media. Throw up that graphic, Rich. If you haven't seen it, it was right by UNLV, right by my office today. PK Subban not happy about what took place during that fight yesterday. And there it is. Hey, and this is courtesy of Big Zim's mom, Lori Stevens Zimmerman. I stole it from her Facebook page. But yeah, Belmar bit my finger, and it really hurt. That was awesome. I love seeing that. I love that. Vegas, you guys are catching on how to be salty.
We're trolling around here, right?
Trolling, being salty. What was your take on the fight? Again, if you didn't see it, go and find it somewhere. But basically, Belmar was in a headlock, and PK Subban had his hand or his glove in Belmar's mouth, and one thing led to another. I just don't know how you can make a big case out of this when you're wearing a massive glove. Like his mouth had to have been like, to fit it in there.
Well, that's the thing. If you're going to stick your hand in somebody's mouth, what do you expect? And there's people trashing Belmar today, and how can you bite somebody? It's so ridiculous that you would bite somebody. He's supposed to be one of the leaders on the team. Let somebody put their hand in your mouth, especially in a fight. It's not like he just walked by and stuck his hand in his mouth and then skated on and that was it. He's grabbing him in a headlock and he puts his hand in his mouth. I challenge anybody out there to just accept that and move on. You're going to react. So whether he bit him or not is irrelevant. Fact is, PK threw his hand in his mouth, and you get what's coming to you.
Belmar said he was choking. I mean, and again, what's with the – and how much blood do you think he had on it? It was his pinky.
Yeah.
How much blood was on it?
I didn't see any blood. Did you see any blood?
Well, he had a tissue, right? He had a tissue. And
for his tears or for his blood? Get out of here.
He was dabbing his head.
PK.
It was ridiculous.
One of the better defenders in the league, man.
Yeah, and my first concern was, is PK Subban going to be able to host his All-Star special on Saturday? Because that's what the lineup was.
He's going to come out in a cast. It's going to be wrapped up.
You think so?
The whole thing.
We've got sound on that, so sit tight. We've got Ryan Reeves talking about his role in that altercation. Again, Belmar said he was being choked. He had no choice but to fight back. And then again, Revo got in there. So we'll get to that shortly. But a couple commenters. Kristen, thanks for hopping on. Michael Wynn talking about the pizza. Yeah, great sock. We'll get to our new sponsor here shortly.
Everybody loves pizza.
But the power play, 0 for 5, Matty. So the number is 3 goals in the last 40 attempts for the Golden Knights. Something not going right. And, of course, my quarterback of the power play, Brad Hunt, is no longer on this team. Yeah. I think he solved it the last time. I believe he came in the lineup, and they got a little bit more flow.
The last goal that they scored was an odd man. Now, granted, you're on the power play. You're supposed to have odd man rushes out there, but it was a full-on rush. They had a 2-on-1 breakaway. And the entire world thought that Marchessault was going to shoot that puck, and he sent it over for the goal, and that they got the power play goal that way. So, I mean, it's not working. No matter what they do right now, it's not working. Now, you just got Colin Miller back. We'll see if that helps at all. It hasn't yet. Riley Smith still isn't out there. They're going to need him back sooner or later. They haven't. They've been too banged up this season to find any continuity with any of their lines, any of their special teams. None of it seems to be clicking consistently throughout this season. When it does click, it's been great. We've seen them go on those stretches. You mentioned the point streak they had earlier in the season. Right now, it's not working, but I mean, they're going to come out. They're going to come out of this break, and they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But the power play has to be fixed.
Long layoff here for this team coming up. Coming at a perfect time. Surprisingly, Mike Kelly was the post-game press conference. First time I had ever witnessed that. Gerard Gallant, at least at home. I don't think anybody else but Gerard. Maybe once before we've had a different assistant come in, but no reasoning for that. Mike Kelly likes the way that this team is playing. The guys like the way that they're playing. So tee it up, Rich Giacovino in the booth. Here's reaction from, we've got Revo, we've got Marc-Andre Fleury, and we've got Nate Schmidt. So I believe it starts with the fight from Revo, then kind of gets into how this team is playing. Here are the guys after last night's game.
I don't really know what started. I just saw Subs coming at Belly with his gloves off, so I'm not going to let that happen.
Okay, so you thought he had his gloves off because he was like ready to fight?
Well, I don't know. I know he had his gloves off before, but either way, he's coming at Belly with his gloves off, so I'm obviously going to step in there.
Gotcha. And what was the exchange like?
Tell him to stop shaking his hand.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
So, can you just talk about the rest of the game? Just it was a pretty intense game. You seemed like you guys played well, but their goalie was good.
Yeah, I mean, the shots. I think we had almost 50 shots. The goalie played really well. They used their speed against us. I think it could have gone either way, but we didn't bury opportunities, and we're just a little too sloppy in some spots.
Good hockey game. I mean, it was up and down. Both teams had some chances. Both teams hit some posts. Both power plays had chances. Yeah, it's one of those games where it's a one. I mean, I know it was a one-shot difference. That's how close the game was. And yeah, it's a heck of a game. It sucks to lose those. You're gonna win those types of games, right? But both teams played well, I thought. Both teams forced the other to do things that I think that they didn't want to do, and then you saw throughout the game how many chances both teams were getting. I thought we limited them, especially like their top lines, for the second half of the game pretty well. It's just one of those things. It's tough right before the break to lose like that.
For sure, it's disappointing. We had a few games at home here, and it would have been nice to catch up get some points and keep climbing the standings. But they were all close games. I thought they were all one-goal game, and we were in every game, right? It was always close, and so I don't think we're gonna change anything drastically. I think we're gonna enjoy this break, rest, relax, and get back at it when we come back.
Seems like you guys did all you could do at times. You did a lot of good things, just couldn't get that extra goal. Did it feel like, was there a different level of intensity out there, two of the best teams in the conference?
It was a good game. I thought it was pretty high pace and a lot of talent and speed on both sides, and also it was fun to be part of it, and obviously it would have been better with a win.
All right, so I agree with what the guys are saying. They all feel like they're over an 82-game season, right? I feel like as long as you feel good about the way you're playing, then they're okay. The power play, I think, is a different story.
It needs to be fixed. And, let's not overreact to losing. They're 10 points clear of, was it Vancouver
10
now?
10 points, so they're in third in the division.
Right. They're 10 points clear of the next closest team in the wild card. They're only 3 points back of San Jose. Calgary has pulled away a little bit. They're 9 up now. I think it's safe to assume that pending a collapse from Calgary, they're probably going to win the Pacific this year, kind of out of nowhere, but playing a lot better than anybody assumed they would play. Regardless, the Golden Knights are going to make the playoffs, and we saw last season, if you get hot in the playoffs, that's it, right? Look what Washington did last year. They started off 0-2 in the series and switched out goaltenders, and that was it. They never looked back. So as long as they're healthy and they're right by the time playoffs roll around, I think they're going to be in good shape. But they're going to be in the playoffs. Let's just accept that at this point. They're going to make the playoffs.
Well, let's get to some comments here in a second. But, looking at the numbers, 29, 19, and 4, 62 points going into the break. 10-point lead, as you said, over Vancouver for third in the division, and the top 3 spots get that playoff spot. They're 5th in the conference right now, but they're only 3 points out of second. So, again, the numbers don't lie. I like where this team is at. I get, somebody was railing, saying they drove 5 hours to watch this Golden Knights team play, and they didn't win the game. And that's just going to happen, unfortunately. Right. That's the way that the cookie crumbles, as they say, for lack of a better way to put it. But let me read some comments here, Maddie, about the fight. Oh, shoot, I just lost them. They're scrolling here on me like crazy. We're getting a lot of comments. Keep it coming in. Kristen saying, watch the fight from the top angle above the net. Clearly shows that Subban had his gloves on, then backed up, flinging his gloves.
Right.
He was clear, absolutely, skating away, and then Revo got involved. So how much?
Yeah, he got a
damage
little
could he do?
nervous when Ryan Reeves
He
rolled
sure
up,
didn't he? Again, I'm just floored on how he tried to sell the pinky finger.
You're talking about a glove that's built to protect your hands from a 100-mile-an-hour slap shot
Right,
with a frozen rubber puck, and he's crying about a little chomp down on the finger.
Steve Novell, thanks for tuning in, Steve. Got to bury the shots.
Mm-hmm.
Is it coaching? Is it luck? This isn't the first or even second time we're killing the other team in shots, but not goals.
Well, I mean, you'd be upset if they're playing poorly.
Right.
You're not always going to score. That's the nature of this game. Hockey, you don't see 7-6 finals all the time for a reason. Not to mention you've got great goaltenders in net. Their job is to stop the puck. Sometimes you go up against a buzzsaw and the guy's not going to let anything through, and that's what happened with Saros last night. He wasn't going to let anything through. 48 shots, 47 saves. That's not an indictment on the way the Golden Knights played. That's more of how well he played than anything else. So, I mean, don't bash the team because they're playing well, the shots aren't going in. They just got to finish a job. But they're going to be fine. And to talk about coaching, this team plays well. They play a fun style. They play an up-tempo style. When they're in transition and they're fast through the neutral zone, this is a hard team to stop. You see the way that second line is starting to click now. I mean, now that they've finally had time to gel with Stastny and Tuck and Pacioretty, I mean, they don't even have to look at each other, and they know where they're going to be. So
isn't that awesome to see
it is.
develop? And I'm glad that you brought that up. You guys should start to notice that again. Pacioretty scored the first goal. That was an assist from Tuck, and I believe Stastny got the secondary assist on that one to get the Golden Knights on the board. But we're really starting to see that these last couple games, even in the back-to-back losses, Pacioretty scoring in both games, and again, Stastny's been involved clearly a lot more and really been a difference maker. So do we want to do report card first, or let's talk about the transaction?
yeah,
Brad Hunt. Brad
man.
Hunt. Yeah, I'm just going to miss Brad. You
Yeah.
guys should all want to miss Brad. So Brad Hunt immediately traded after Monday's game. And I don't know if you guys saw the story in The Athletic that Jesse Granger contributed to and the main beat writer up in Minnesota put together. But great read. The reporter tracked down first flight from Vegas to Denver in the morning. That would have been Tuesday morning, but Brad Hunt got the call right after the game Monday from George McPhee and said, hey, come to the practice facility. We want to talk to you. And then Brad Hunt immediately told his wife,
Never
oh,
a
this
good
can't
thing.
be. Yeah, this can't be good.
Yeah.
So he went down there, and it gives McPhee a lot of credit for telling Brad to his face to face, had a great conversation, and understand what McPhee said. He met with the media the following day. You know, Brad wanted more playing time. Clearly he wasn't getting it. Brad filled a great role as the eighth defenseman. Man, that guy was smiling. And every time I saw him in the locker room, hey, boys, great to see you. It was like, it was so cool.
Always. Yeah, and that's exactly the thing. I mean, it's not like we saw Brad enough on the ice. He played in, 58 games for the Golden Knights. Had about 26 points, I think, in those 58 games. Or 24 points, 20 assists, and 4 goals, I believe. But just a super nice guy. Just fun to be around, very engaging. Anytime you wanted to have a conversation, it had nothing to do with hockey or being on the record or anything like that. You could just sit and talk to him about whatever.
Yeah.
Really, really cool guy. I'm going to miss him in the locker room.
Yeah, I'll be cheering for him from Minnesota for sure.
I do want to address this comment. Kristen says, also shooting from too far out. Goalies are able to see them coming from downtown. That is true with a lot of shots. But and this coming from Ryan, the hockey guy today, Ryan Wallace, he said that they had 14 or 15 high danger opportunities in that game, and that game grades out to a 4.5 goal game on a normal night for the Golden Knights. UC Soros, man, give him credit. The dude was unbelievable last night. He stopped everything minus that one shot, and that was backdoor wide open. What was he going to do? There was nothing he could have done about that one. But if he saw it, he was going to stop it, even the high danger chances. So sometimes you just run into a hot goalie.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you're
that's the
talking
way
about
it is.
an NHL Stanley Cup final caliber team,
Right.
And that's just what it's going to be like when they face these teams. And the Golden Knights, they do have a losing record against playoff teams. I think it's 9-12 now. It could be 9-13. So they've struggled a little, and I don't want to say struggled. I guess that's not the right way to phrase it. But you see, when they're in these tough games, they beat the teams that clearly they're better than.
Yeah.
And then when they just play this equal competition, which I would say Nashville is certainly on par with, you lose a one-goal game, hey, that's hockey, right?
Yeah, and it's not like they're getting blown out of these games either. I mean, you're looking at one-goal games in the final 3-4 minutes of the game. They've got to find a way to get over that hump, and whatever that is, in my opinion, it's the power play. power play has to get better, whether it's a line adjustment or guys just being cleaner with the puck. You see a lot of times them struggling just to enter the neutral zone and get into the offensive end, and that's just being sloppy. That's not going tape to tape on your passes. A lot of times they leave that little drop pass when they're leaving the defensive zone. I've seen too many times this season where that pass is almost picked off or it's tipped at the very least and it's not clean. So they got to clean things up on that end.
You're watching the new Sports Adrenaline show. We're changing things up a bit, new look. If this is the first time you're catching us, give us, if you're watching the video, I think it's in the top right corner of your screen. I don't know where it is on your phone. I just got the laptop in front of us. But give us a follow, give us a like. We love talking about the Golden Knights and just sports in Vegas. That's what we do. And we obviously have brought in some local sponsors to talk about the show as well. One thing I will say, going back to Brad Hunt really quick, he's an offensive-minded defenseman, and they could have been using him on the power play. And John Merrill had a terrible game yesterday. Merrill's been playing well lately, but he didn't play better than Brad Hunt last night, that's for sure. Right. Picking up 2 penalties, 1 in interference where he literally just skated into Soros late in the game.
Yeah.
And we addressed the power play as well. Report card. What grade would you give him as we move forward here, looking at the first half?
I'm going to give this team a solid B. All right. I mean, they're not doing too many things great consistently enough to put them in the A column. Obviously, last year would have been an A+. That was ridiculous. Too many struggles on the power play, and like we just talked about, haven't been able to beat the top teams consistently enough this season. But they do have over 60 points. They are comfortably in a playoff spot at this point. They're going to make the playoffs, and I do expect them to make a run once they get there. Don't forget, Eric Halla's still out. We don't know if he's going to be back this year. They haven't ruled him out for good yet. Riley Smith should be coming back. Will Carrier should be coming back, both within, I'd say, the next week or two, coming off of the All-Star break. So expect this team to right the ship, get healthy, turn things around. They're going to be fine. But I'm going to give them a B for now.
You guys are being great with comments here today. Steve, and my grade's B+, by the way. Okay. I mean, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I think for the hand that they've been dealt with all the injuries, Malcolm Subban not putting up wins and injured right now, Marc-Andre Fleury has put together a Vezina effort, and the NHL Network said it as much so far through the first half. Steve's saying, best second line and fourth line in hockey. There's no question that you can make that argument. I don't think there's, and I don't pay attention to too much outside of the Golden Knights besides the teams I get to see them play in person, but I don't think there's any question that's spot on. Somebody saying a B here, maybe a B-. Yeah, with the special teams, sure. If that's a factor, I might back it up and say a B.
I like that you threw in the fact that they have dealt with so many injuries, which is the reason you gave them that little extra plus. They've weathered that storm to a degree. The way they came out of the gate and really struggled to find their way and then just went crazy to be in the position they're in. I mean, anything in the Bs, I think they're good.
Yeah, Kristen says a B. So they're right in that category, which means that they can play better. Oscar Dansk, in case you guys didn't see, Oscar Dansk gets the call up back to the NHL, right? And it looks, from all intents and purposes, he will not suit up and he will not play a game. You're talking about a long stretch before the Golden Knights hit the ice again. It's basically to stop the time running on Max Legacy.
Right.
And Malcolm Subban's return is pending, but you can't really trust. I mean, I don't know what you trust with what the team says. You just have to go off of what they're saying. And they're saying Malcolm Subban's
close. It's the most cryptic team I've ever seen in my life, and in any sport at any level. They do not want to tell you what's going on with injuries.
Yeah, so Golden Knights, All-Star break, Marc-Andre Fleury, of course, participating, and maybe he'll win that competition that he did last time. So we'll certainly be keeping an eye on that. We're going to come back to Golden Knights, but we've got a few other things, and if you're not a Rebel fan, maybe you should listen to this discussion here. But first, just a quick word from our sponsors. Drink, dine, and play at the Pint during the pro football season. Join us all day Sunday, plus Monday and Thursday nights as we serve up the best specials on the west side. $2 all-beef hot dogs, $3 beers from locally made Bad Beat Brewing, $15 buckets of Bud Light, and sound for every Raider game. Our carefully crafted menu and loose slots create a locals atmosphere you'll love, plus awesome parties during every Golden Knights game. The Pint, located at 9941 West Charleston near Wallapai. The Pint, your premier neighborhood bar. In life,
life, just like in football, you need good hands to score. The Michael Westra Allstate Agency will carry you to success for every insurance need. Auto, business, home, life. Michael will personally see you get the best rates, and our full-service staff at 702-435-4211 will walk you through any claim, not refer you to an 800 number. For over 15 years, Michael has served charities in Las Vegas. He's ready to serve you at 702-435-4211, 702-435-4211.
A quick question from Steve.
Yeah.
What about trade rumors? Steve, I haven't heard any.
No.
None. I mean, is Brandon Peary a trade piece? Because they're going to have to make a decision on him. And there's so many layers to this team, right? When everybody's healthy, they're going to have to figure out somebody that needs to move out of there.
Right.
And I'm
Riley
sure
Smith is obviously going to go back to that spot, right? Yeah. You put Carrier back on the fourth line along with Belmar and Reeves. Nosek moves back up to that third line with Eakin and Carpenter, Lindbergh, any combination therein, Peary.
It'll
where
be
do
interesting.
you go with that? Yeah.
And again, before it even happens, it's just like we're going to guess, but it's kind of useless to guess, honestly.
Especially with McPhee.
That's exactly what I mean. All right, hey, let's move that arrow down one notch, Rich Giacovino. Slice of the week, Grimaldi's Pizza. So we're excited to announce that we've got a new local sponsor, and if you're out there watching the show and you're interested in teaming up with us, shameless plug, but we'd like to think that we're going to give some local businesses some value. We're the only ones that kind of do what we're doing, and it's an easy way to kind of get your name out there. So Grimaldi's, we kind of sealed it up today. We're going to get some pizza from them each week. They're going to feature a new pie. We're going to taste it and try it and support a local business here. So we're excited to bring them on board. Oh, look at that. We're going to need to get some Grimaldi's.
Yeah, man. I hope that's coming in next
week. If anybody's
week.
eaten there, or if you haven't eaten there, hopefully we can convince you to go down there, because I would put that in the top tier of pizza joints in Las Vegas for sure.
You know what, man? We need to have them send over some cheesecake. I don't know if you've ever had Grimaldi's cheesecake. I'm not.
We're pushing.
Look, I'm not a big
here.
cheesecake fan just in general, but man, they have the best cheesecake anywhere. So it's not just pizza, guys.
Yeah,
and the antipasto is pretty good over there too.
Yeah. So welcome aboard to Grimaldi's, and again, that'll be next Thursday's show. We'll have a pie here, and we'll try it. It'll be interesting to see what they bring. A team that's on the rise. Come on, Matt.
No, yeah, let's go.
And again, people aren't showing up to the MAC, but just stay for this segment, okay? Because I'm going to try to convince you that this is a team. And let me argue this right now. So Runnin Rebels, they win. They beat New Mexico the other night, 74-58. Sweep for the first time since 2011. Nick Blair, of all people, what a tremendous game from him. 26 points. Career high, his previous high as a college player was 16, and then I think his highest point total as a Rebel was 8 points. This was his sixth game that he played in. Here's some highlights from the game here the other night, and Blair played really well. Rebels played really well. New Mexico really had no opportunity to get back into this game, and the Rebels shot 1 of 10 to start from the floor, so really atrocious start, and then came alive. They made 14 three-pointers, and I get any team is tough to beat. But now the games get tougher. I think they should just play the conference tournament today.
Yeah.
But what you make of that game against New Mexico?
Okay, well, we'll start with New Mexico. They played really well. The Rebels looked really good. About 26 feet at one point and just buried it. Hardy looked good. Obviously, Nick Blair, where did he come from? They played really well, and they've played really well, with the exception of the Air Force game, since they've gotten into conference play. However, here's the problem. 3 wins, 5 wins, 7 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins. That represents the 5 teams that they've played so far in conference, their win totals for the season, for the entire season. New Mexico has the best record of the group.
Come on, Air Force is coming along. They beat Boise. They beat Boise on Tuesday.
They're all under 500, and most of them by a lot. They haven't beaten anybody. Now, the good thing is they're beating the teams they're supposed to beat, right? Yeah, it does look like that Air Force loss. The way they lost is terrible, but the Air Force loss in general, whether you lose by 1,000 or 1, it only counts as 1 loss. It doesn't look as bad anymore on paper because they're starting to play good basketball, Air Force is. But they still haven't beaten anybody yet. San Diego State is going to be their first major test. It's in San Diego, which is never easy for the Rebels to go down there and play. in whatever the name of that arena is now. So this is going to be a tough one. Reno on Tuesday night. I mean, that's no matter what happens on Saturday against San Diego State, this all comes down to Reno coming into the Thomas and Mack on Saturday night, and you're going to have two of the top teams in the conference record-wise going at it. I hope, I mean, we'll be there, I'm sure. I hope that we see a good turnout. I'd like to, at the very least, see that lower bowl full. I'd like to see the student section
you're on
full.
par with your dad here. Your dad just chimed in. Jake, when, if ever, will at least the lower bowl of the T&M fill up? Before we get to the Reno game, and we're going to get to that, but we've got some reaction from the team. Both Nick Blair and Noah Robotham and Marvin Menzies about the win and about the 5-1 record. So I believe we'll talk about the game, and then it kind of gets into Nick Blair and just where he's come out of nowhere, and then leading into the good play so far. So here's the Runnin Rebels after Tuesday night's win to put them 5-1 in the Mountain West.
It feels good. Last year they beat us twice, games that were very close, so it kind of felt good to get back and get a couple wins. And, it's, a lot of confidence moving forward. It's, like I said, the whatever that saying, the pink elephant, the purple elephant in the room, whatever it is, all the tough games are coming up here within the next 5. So we need to be locked in. We need to be feeling good about ourselves. And having that win tonight definitely helps that cause.
I always give credit to teammates and coaches. When you got a staff like we do and teammates like we do, you just go out there and you just be confident. I know my teammates trust me, the coaching staff trust me. So when you got everybody based on the team, knowing that you can shoot those shots and that they believe in you, it's not too hard to believe in yourself and shoot those shots.
Yeah, it's just a testament to his character. We were, deep kind of in this season. He hadn't played a lot. He didn't mope. He didn't complain. He was a consistent human being. And I think when you're a good person, good stuff happens for you. And he's a mature guy. So when he's playing well and he's given us a different type of look, we kind of have a small ball look with Mbake being out a short time being. But, it's just that next man up mentality, and he definitely sees the opportunity. But I just think it's a testament of who he is. It's very easy not to play and to feel down and feel for yourself and blame others. But he did the opposite. He's more bought in than he's ever been. And, I don't think that it's a surprise that he's playing this way. It's who he is.
Honestly, man, I'd love to tell you I'm excited and I feel really, jubilant about it all. But it's just all about that next game, We'll stop and celebrate if we have the kind of season that I want to have, But obviously it doesn't feel bad. But the old adage, you just feel relieved after wins and you feel down after losses. So I feel relieved that we were fortunate enough to get a sweep on those guys because I do think they have a lot of talent. But everybody says we haven't played the toughest teams yet. So, there'll always be an asterisk next to things. So we got to make sure that we try to remove the asterisk a little bit at a time. And I think we chipped at it a little bit tonight.
So really quick on Nick Blair, right? Came in from Idaho. He's a Gorman graduate, so he's a local kid. So we should be excited to have him. Yeah. And just, man, and Marvin Menzies, we didn't have that soundbite here, but Marvin Menzies clearly said, he didn't plan to play him like he played him. Right. It was his performance. Well, so my question is, he's played so well, and he's played pretty well to be a part of the rotation before the injuries.
That's the thing, right? Is Marvin Menzies' hand has been forced here. He's been forced to go with Hardy and Robotham starting lineup. He's been forced to bring in Nick Blair and
it's working.
Have more of a small ball look out there on the court. Robotham talked about that. The problem is what happens when Mbake gets healthy and Bailey gets healthy and Justin comes back next year. Is he going to go back to that slow plotting, try to work through the post offense without having true post up offensive players like he's been doing since he got here? That's the problem is this offense is not what we've seen from Marvin Menzies for the first 2.5 seasons. The only reason we're seeing this is because of the injuries. I hope that he stays with it because it's working. They're hitting shots. Their inside-out game looks great. Joel Tomboy is going to be a force in college basketball,
He had
that kid is legit.
His first bad game was Tuesday.
And he still had what?
Double digits in 10 straight, and then had 5 points.
But he
but
still
11
had
11 rebounds,
11 or
something
12
like
rebounds,
that.
yeah.
Double-digit rebounds.
So, I mean, that's the thing is you've got some talent here to work with. You just have to put them in position to win games. And so far, they've been able to do that once conference play has started. But again, and he mentioned the asterisk. You have to put that asterisk there, unfortunately, because they haven't beaten anybody. Every team they've beaten is the bottom 5 teams in the league, standings-wise. That's where they're at right now. They've only beaten the cellar-dwelling teams in the league. So you have to now step up in competition. They are ahead of San Diego State right now in the standings, but we know San Diego State is a better team than what they played so far. And then again, you got Reno coming up on, yes, Reno. I will say Reno every time. You got Reno coming up on Tuesday.
Well, really quick, so Aztecs, in their last 8, they've won 4, lost 4, win-loss, 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 win-loss. Win-loss? Was that 8? I don't know. That might
Yeah,
have
I think
10.
they lost the other day. So
8-2 at home overall. I get it's going to be tough, but I think you got to account the Rebels' momentum for something. If they don't win, I think it's a close game.
I don't know. This team always seems to struggle in San Diego. They struggle in San Diego. It doesn't matter what team we're looking at. We saw some of the best Rebel teams over the last 10-plus years go down there and get embarrassed. This isn't the same San Diego State team, obviously. Fisher's gone, and it's just not the same caliber that we've gotten used to. I hope they can stay with them. If they play the style of ball that they played outside of the first 10 minutes of the game the other night, then I think they will stay with them. But they've got to hit those shots. I mean, the way they're running this offense right now, it's burying those 3-pointers. So, you can get streaky, and you saw Reno go down to New Mexico and lose because they couldn't hit a 3. You just never know.
Well, speaking of Reno, let's touch on it. I just want to talk about the crowd. I don't want to, well, I guess we could break down the game a little bit. So 8 o'clock start, Tuesday the 29th, middle of the week. It's not going up against the Golden Knights game. The next night's game is until the 1st of February against the Hurricanes on the road. There's a couple of road games before they get back. So they've been averaging, at least announced attendance, about 6,000 to 7,000. Probably 4 to 5 show up. There was a decent crowd Tuesday. Mm-hmm. I'd say maybe 6 was there. Do they get to 8? Do they get to 9? Or is that a little lofty?
I think a lot of it depends on what happens on Saturday. If they go down to San Diego State and they win, okay, if they go down there and win that game, you're going to start turning heads. And not because they won just some random game, because it's San Diego State. And we know what kind of rivalry that's become, especially when you're talking about the show and the rebellion and all of the infighting there on social media and everything that comes with it. These two teams do not like each other. These two programs do not like each other. Their fan bases don't like each other. This would be a good spot for them to go down and make a statement and generate some buzz, especially like you mentioned. The Knights are off for the next week. No Golden Knights talk. Yeah, you have the All-Star game. If you want to watch it, have fun. It'll be a fun 5 minutes to see Fleury do what he does, but that's about it. You can focus on UNLV for a little while. Super Bowl's not till the end of the week. If they win this game, generate a little buzz. Let's be honest. I think Marvin Menzies, starting with him and the program, needs to do a better job generating some buzz around this team. Mm-hmm. There needs to be some hype. Today was the first day they had media availability in a month? Not counting post-game?
They've done a couple times.
Media availability for practice? I mean, you haven't seen it in forever. They've got to get people interested in this team. It starts with winning, obviously, so take care of that on Saturday. And then just hype that game. It's Reno versus Vegas. That's what we want to see.
Well, and now you're getting the thought in my head as the pessimistic Rebel fan that I am. Again, UNLV alum, so I can be unbiased and yet biased at the same time as a journalist and as a fan. Perfect time for the Rebels to blow it, right? And everybody's going to be looking at them. They win Saturday, or they lose a close one Saturday, and then they just lay an egg on Tuesday. I really hope that doesn't happen, but now you've got my thinking of, people are going to get excited. It's going to be the perfect opportunity for them, and they're going to go.
And how many times have we seen it?
That's right. That's why I mentioned it.
We've seen it so many times where they build up all of this goodwill, and then here comes the big game, right? The one that they're supposed to go out and perform for and show all the fans in Vegas that they're still the Runnin Rebels, and they lay an egg, and they get blown out of the arena, and people are gone with 10 minutes to go in the second half.
Yeah, so Steve brings up a good point. Hold on. With a huge increase in sports fans here in the Valley, with the Knights and the Raiders, will we start to get some blue chips at UNLV? Right, and this is something that we've argued about numerous times. The Rebels should already be having blue chips. They get the Team USA to come to town. They get NBA teams practicing at their facility. They have the Summer League. See them already getting fired
Khalil
up.
Mack was there today, hanging out at Mendenhall. Yeah, Khalil Mack.
I didn't hear about this.
He was hanging out at Mendenhall. I saw a picture with
I
somebody.
didn't hear about this.
He's
or I
hanging-
would've
I
ran
mean,
over.
everybody's in Vegas,
Yeah,
man.
they should already have blue chips at this university. And for
agree.
some reason, the Mendenhall Center, all these people that stop by, they still can't get, and they got Brandon McCoy,
No.
the last one that didn't get drafted.
There's no buzz, John.
Yep, no
There
buzz.
is no buzz around the program. And for the job Marvin Menzies doing, 20 wins last year, which we said is kind of irrelevant and kind of turning things around so far in conference play this year, there's just no hype around this team. Where's the hype? Where do you generate it from if it's not going to be with wins? There's got to be something.
Win Saturday or close loss? Just really quick. I know you said it's tough, but you didn't give me a
Yeah, I
prediction.
think they get beat pretty handedly at
Okay.
San Diego State.
Great. Thanks a lot for your opinion on that, Matt. I say close game, and I'm not going to predict whether they win or lose. Let's get to this segment that we've been waiting for here.
Yes.
Move the arrow down, Rich. Move it down. Right. No, there. I got it. Bad
There
beat
it
Brewer minus the Y. We'll get it right. It's just a Mickey Mouse operation here. I don't know.
all right.
No,
I like it.
we're good.
I like
All right,
it.
so let's talk beer. Okay, so Bad Beat Brewery, locally made craft beers. They're down in Henderson. They're in the booze district, is what they call it down there next to the distillery. But they've got some beers that are again brewed right here at their facility. You can go down there. The tap room is open, I think, every night of the week. Starting a little later in the afternoon. They have food trucks out there and everything. But they have a couple beers that are local that sold pretty much everywhere. I know Lee's and Smith's and some of the convenience stores around town have it. But we've got their heft today, so this is our draft pick of the week. It's Bad Beat Brewing.
I like the name.
Hefeweizen.
Bluffing isn't vice.
Yeah.
It's not wise. Hefeweizen.
or
It's
wise.
good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, you got to
well,
throw a little
let's
drill
talk
up.
beer for a little bit, right?
There it
I'm
is.
glad these didn't explode. They were in my
almost
car.
did.
They were in my
Almost
car
did.
before I got here. I'm a big hef guy.
Yes. Easy
I
to
like.
drink.
I know exactly. Easy to
They're
drink.
the one they are.
Just like me.
But this is what, a little over 5% ABV, which is your alcohol by volume. So
Oh, it's so good. I don't drink a lot.
Traditional beer,
I need to drink more.
you know,
This
like
is good.
your Bud Lights and
Oh,
things
yeah.
of that nature. Those hang out around 3.5%. This is a little more, a little over 5%.
Yep.
So you get that little extra kick in there. But hef's a good beer.
Well, so what do you normally drink though?
Whiskey.
Where's our whiskey sponsor at?
Oh, don't worry.
You're working on that.
Whiskey,
Diageo.
we're gonna be working on
I don't
whiskey,
even
man.
know what's the big brands.
We gotta add to the pizza and the beer of the week with maybe a whiskey or a shot of the week,
Yeah.
something like that.
Well, I was
But,
thinking to call.
no, I enjoy wheat beers like this. I like these style beers. You get the little more citrus notes to it. They're definitely lighter. You don't get that hoppiness to it like you get out of IPAs and things of that
Yeah.
nature. So this is a good beer.
Yeah, not that anybody cares out there, but I've had some health issues that you know about. So I don't drink, and I don't eat pizza, and I'm kind of torn here. I'm really excited to have pizza and beer, but then I'm like,
All I heard is more for Matt. That's all
Yeah,
I heard right there. More for Matt.
You're exactly right. So these guys are
Cheers.
great, and you can get Bad Beat at the Pint, which is another one of our friendly sponsors on West Charleston near Wallapai. Canadian beer percentage, is that what we have here? Is that what you're talking about, or he's just talking about not Bush? What's Molson?
You know what? I don't know what their normal, what their standard
Steve
ABV
said he's
is.
going to go buy some next week. Stout, please. I think next week we have their IPA.
Bad Beat IPA.
Yeah, that we'll
Okay.
try. But this stuff,
with
I
that.
love this half. It's probably actually
It's good, man.
and I'm not blowing smoke here. They're not paying us, so we can give an honest review.
I love this. Proudly brewed in Henderson,
Yeah.
Nevada.
But this is the
Nevada
best
State-
half that I've
mean,
ever
there you
had.
go.
I mean, compared to Blue Moon or the other ones out there, right? I think it's just super
Yeah,
smooth.
Blue Moon, things like that. Chalk Top, those kind of beers are a little more.
They're
like
industrial?
They're like the Bud Light version of your wheat beers. They're session beers. You can sit down and have 1,000 of them and be okay.
Right.
These a little more of a sipping style beer, a little more alcohol in them. You don't need as many, obviously.
And now my legs are going to start to throb again. Nobody cares. So Bad Beat Brewery, the Hefeweizen here. Bluffing isn't vice.
So Mike says 5%, 5 to 5.5 is normal for Canada. So
you big boys.
I mean, it's not Canadian, it's Henderson, but
Big boys.
it's all right.
down
We
there.
like it, yeah.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk a little Super Bowl here.
Canadians got to stay warm, man.
So the props came out, Matt. Super Bowl 53 next Sunday. Rams, Patriots. Please tell us what you guys think. Give us your predictions of the game and the score. We'll get into that a little bit, but I want to talk about arriving at the Rams and the Patriots because easily, and people lashing out at me again on social media over this. I just hate when football games are defined by one play. I hate it because it shouldn't come down to one officiating call for sure. Now, I get the Bears' missed kick, which devastated my playoff season against the Eagles, and I understand it happens, and I hate that Alshon Jeffrey dropped that pass to end that Eagles-Saints game, and you kind of see the escalation here. Bears get hosed against the Eagles. Eagles get hosed against the Saints. The Saints get hosed against the Rams on an egregious pass interference call. And I'll tell you what, people were just like, oh, they have to execute the rest of the game. Okay, I get it. That PI is called 95 times out of 100, the Saints win that game.
I'd say 99.
Yeah.
That game was over. That game was essentially over. And for the officials to miss that play, when you saw it in live time, you went, ooh, I'm pretty sure he got there early. Then you saw the replay, and it wasn't even close. Then you saw the other angles come out. I don't know if you've seen all these end zone angles.
That guy ran 50 yards across the field and just tackled him.
Full speed, took him out. Now, you could have called pass interference, obviously. If you didn't want to call that, illegal contact, give him 5 yards in the first down, could have called that. How about helmet to helmet? He led with the crown of his helmet, smashed him right in the face, went right through him. You could have called that. Easily 3 penalties you could have called there, and the refs kept the flag in the pocket. Here's what drives me nuts. You have so many people talking about, well, what about all the other calls that went in the Saints' favor throughout the game, right? Yeah, that happens. Throughout the course of a game, you get bad calls, you get good calls. They talked about the missed face mask on Jared Goff that would have given the Rams a ball first and goal. They probably could have got a touchdown out of that and taken the lead, in which case the Saints would have needed a touchdown there at the end. Here's the difference. Penalties are not all created equal throughout the course of a game. That's just not the way it works. Different parts of the game carry different weight. This had more of an impact on the game than any other call because of where it was at in the game. Tom Brady threw 2 interceptions in that game against the Chiefs, right? One of them was in the end zone, much like the Seahawks did against the Patriots. What's the difference? That interception in the end zone from the 1-yard line, which netted them 0 points on that drive, happened in the first or second quarter of the game. Russell Wilson's happened with 20 seconds left in the game. The interceptions were from the same exact spot on the field. Interceptions took points off the board. One of them had an impact on the game. The other one didn't. Same goes for penalties. If you don't make a call like this at the end of a game, it completely changes the game because there's no more time left to fix it. That was it. The game was over. That was a terrible call.
The Chiefs game was, I don't want to say a complete debacle, but there were so many calls, and the one that comes to mind was the offside. And that was a good call, right? But that offside doesn't get called, and that changes.
And how many times does neutral zone not get called, especially when the play is nowhere near the play? The play's to the other side of the field. How about the roughing the passer, which apparently if you breathe on Tom Brady, you are roughing him.
Here it comes, Raider fan.
Come on,
Raider fan coming out.
Come on. It's getting ridiculous. So, can I go on a Tom Brady rant?
Well, yeah, it depends on if it's a good rant or not.
It's always a good rant, man. It's Tom Brady.
Listen, if you're talking about the Tuck rule, I don't want to hear it.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about the Tuck rule.
Okay, then go ahead.
The undue praise or undue, what do you want to call it? The way that he is protected.
Worship.
The way that he is protected.
I would go with worship.
Within the NFL, both by the referees and fans. No matter what he does wrong, it's everybody else's fault. And whatever he does right, it's only him that did it. Do you realize that Tom Brady was not sacked a single time in the 2 playoff games that he's been in so far? The only quarterback in the playoffs to not get touched, Tom Brady. And the one time anybody gets near him, they throw a flag. What are you supposed to do as a defender? You can't go full speed against Tom Brady because even if you get near him, you're going to get a flag drawn. It is impossible to play football against this guy. And I don't know, I get it. Tom Brady is a great quarterback. We all understand that. The record speaks for itself. But too often, he is very mediocre and gets all the praise. He was not good in that game the other day. You went against the Chiefs' defense, which is horrendous. They were number 31 out of 32 teams in the NFL. And you got lucky, won the coin flip, because had the Chiefs won the coin flip, we'd be talking about Chiefs-Rams right now. He doesn't have to do anything spectacular to get the undue praise. It needs to stop. That's my rant.
You know what? I'll take it. I think it's acceptable. If it was about the tuck rule, I probably would have cut you off. So,
I'm never going to get over that, John.
Matt's not a big gambler. William Hill came out with their props today. I'll just hit a couple of them. My locks, right? My lock. And, we just dive deep into sports betting here. No, we don't. But I just chase value. That's how I always have been. I always bring that up every time I talk to Matt.
You do pretty good with it too, John.
Yeah. So the numbers that I'm looking at: Patriots, the point spread. Alternate point spread, Patriots minus 10.5. I like the Pats to win this game by more than 10.
Really?
Don't know if it happens,
Wow.
but at plus 240, I think that's tremendous value. You're getting more than double your money. So $10 wins you 24, 100 wins you 240.
You think they're a double-digit win in this game?
It could be.
Wow.
Yeah, it could
All
be.
right.
If Jared Goff doesn't have a good game, both teams are going to run the football, which I get. I feel like anyway. I feel like that's going to be the game plan. So maybe the under's the way to go. But if Jared Goff can't make a pass happen in a situation that he needs to make it happen, I just think the Patriots kind of
the thing
get
that
it done.
kills
They don't
the
win
Patriots.
2 Super Bowls, or they don't lose 2 Super Bowls in a row.
I think they're going to.
Yeah.
The thing that gets the Patriots the most is a middle pass rush. When you have Donald and Sue in the middle there, breaking down that pocket, you get Brady uncomfortable. That's when he is at his worst. Look at the Giants Super Bowls. Look at the Broncos Super Bowl. The Broncos playoff game, not Super Bowl. When he is uncomfortable in that pocket, that's when he gets beat up.
But that's when you're going to swing it out to James White on the outside, and you're going to have quick passes and quick screens and the scheming of Bill Belichick.
The Rams are a solid enough defense with enough pieces.
Yeah. Anyway, back to we'll break it down, I think, a little bit more next week. But
all right.
Minus 10.5 plus 240. I just think that's great value. And then my real lock every single year, I think it's maybe 4 out of the last 5, 3 out of the last 5. First score of the game. Always kick the field goal. Go with the field goal safety. You get plus money. I know that hit last year. Plus $1.25. And then they have, of course, the interesting props. Let me see if I can find a Golden Knights one here. Which will be more, Golden Knights saves or first half points of the game? First half points minus a half a point. So Golden Knights saves 50. So Golden Knights saves, so 25 to 30 first half points. That's a good one. That's interesting.
That's a tough one because they give up about that many opportunities a game. So if Fleury's on, which way do you go?
Yeah, and I swore I saw one more here, but there's Golden Knights props, which is cool. It's cool to see our home team have some props on here. And we'll dive more into this again as we get closer to the game, and we'll have a show next week here as well. Which will be more, LA Kings goals or LA Rams field goals? That's a pick 'em. LA Kings.
Kings
at
can't
the
score,
Islanders.
man.
They're at the Islanders.
Hey, Islanders are good.
On Saturday.
That's a good team.
Yeah, and the Golden Knights at the Panthers on Saturday. So that's the game that they're going to use. Oh, here we go. Which will be more, Golden Knights goals or Jared Goff rush attempts? That's a pick 'em. Goff, the underdog here. Golden Knights goals minus 140. Goff passes. I think you go with the Golden Knights there against the Panthers. That's probably four goals. Goff doesn't run much, right?
No.
Once or twice a game. Let me see if I can.
He can.
Pick up one more here. And get your comments in because we've got our comment section here coming up next. But I just say go with the field goal because that's always my favorite. I haven't had time to digest this. It's 14 pages, but field goal plus
14
$1.25.
pages of props.
Yeah.
My God. And how many of those, well done.
Pardon me?
How many of those do you generally bet on? How many props do you like to do every year?
I go heavy on about two to three. The field goal one I always go heavy on. And then I'll just find a couple where I may hear a couple whispers about. I'll go heavy on it. And then the other ones I just do for fun. Like first touchdown, I'll always have a play on who scores the first touchdown, right? Somebody that's 10-1 and throw $5 on that.
Yeah, why not,
That's
right?
What makes the game fun. So more Super Bowl talk next week. Let's get to the comments section. We just want to talk about this. Maybe you guys were on fire earlier. Appreciate it. And again, if you're tuning in late here, give us a follow, give us a like. We really appreciate that.
Tom Brady is a winning machine. Don't hate on the champ.
Yeah, is that what we should do in the comments section? Who'd we miss? I don't want to talk about Tom Brady. Although I completely maybe you don't have to, but I have to respect what the Patriots have done.
No, without question.
Okay,
that organization has been ridiculous.
It's insane.
17
We're never going to
years
see it
now.
again, I don't think, in the NFL.
No,
we
we're
saw it with
not.
the Bulls in the 90s. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say it. We saw it with the Bulls. We saw it with the Blackhawks. Yeah, I know it's got to be Chicago, but I don't know if we're going to see a dynasty like the Blackhawks were in the 2000s in the NHL. Maybe it's the Golden Knights.
They got to win a cup first.
Right. It might be a little
you
tough.
You're
not going to
just
see a
get
dynasty
there.
like
the
Patriots.
The Bills went 4 times in a row. Would you call them a dynasty? Maybe in the AFC, but they don't have any trophies to go along with it.
We're going to get somebody in here. It might be one of my students, but Haley used to do comments for us if you're a fan of the show. Haley is, busy having a baby, so we're not sure when she'll be back, but we need to bring in somebody to read comments for us. We'll have the comment section up and running here again. I'd like to see Stephen A. Smith on your show.
We didn't touch on that. We forgot about that.
Can I give my Stephen A. Smith story? Because I don't even know what you're talking about.
You haven't seen the Derek Carr issue. Been out of touch for the last 12 hours.
Well, I saw.
John.
Okay, so it was Stephen A. Smith that said something to him about his effort. Is that what it was?
So it was Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith on whatever show it is that they're on.
I work all day. Listen, I'm lucky I put the show together.
Yeah, I'm lucky you put the show together.
This is true.
They talked about his heart, not wanting it, not willing to go out there and take his lumps, so to speak, and things of that nature, and basically questioned his character. And Derek Carr fired back on Twitter, and called both of those guys out, and then brought Dana White into the fold and said, "Hey, can we get into the octagon? Because I'm ready to go with these two." And essentially is calling them out to a little MMA action. Now, Max Kellerman came out today and went on this 5.5-minute diatribe about how,
he's known for the diatribe.
Even Roberto Duran quit, and it's not about your character, it's about in that instance, and that's what I meant, and basically did a lot of backpedaling. But why then did you say that the Raiders need to draft a quarterback? Why then did you say that John Gruden is looking to draft a quarterback because of the character issues with Derek Carr? Now to only backpedal and go, no, I only meant in that instant. Derek Carr's played with broken bones in his back. He played with a broken finger. Like, he came out of the locker room with a broken finger after halftime against the Panthers in 2016. Derek Carr he's a tough guy. When he goes out there to win regardless. Now, you do see a lot of quarterbacks from time to time. When the hit's coming, they go down. I don't think I've ever seen Tom Brady take a hit. He goes down like Woody in Toy Story, man, just collapses as soon as the guy's coming. That's what Tom Brady does. Peyton Manning was the same way. A lot of these guys are like that. Not everybody is 6'6", 280 like Ben Roethlisberger and stands in and takes everything. It's not quite 280, but you know what I mean. He wants to get in there and fight. I say let him fight.
Yeah, I heard some of the comments that Derek Carr made. I didn't understand the full context of what happened, so I'm glad you brought that up. It just makes me think of a great quote from John Wooden, and I've done in graduate school my research, and it makes me sound really smart. My grad school research, I looked into John Wooden, and it reminds me of his quote about character and reputation, right? Don't worry about your reputation, worry about your character.
Right.
Clearly, Derek Carr is such a high character guy, and in this world, I think that quote is more relevant than ever when you have a Stephen A. Smith. Oh, my Stephen A. Smith story. So, I have a little.
I know the story. I
have a little side hustle, right? Because, I'm not loaded. I'm a journalist in Las Vegas. It's not like I'm making money hand over fist. And salaries took a nosedive in 2007 when the economy tanked. That's another diatribe. So I'm working this side gig. Stephen A. Smith comes in to do a show, right? And I'm just helping out on the production because I'm like the Pierre-Edouard Belmar of journalism. I play on the fourth line, right? Or I can play on the first line. I can play on any line that you want me to play. So I can be in front of the camera, and I don't mind being behind the camera as long as I get a few dollars. This might be my final thought, too.
Go for it.
But yeah, the guy just comes in, sauntering in, big, loud voice. Man, I even feel bad about saying it, but the guy just, did you like the show? It was first day. Did you like the show all show long? I hope you liked that show. I'm stopping short because I'm on public TV. I didn't like the way it went down.
He's got a bit of an ego.
Yeah, I guess I should. Well, clearly he does, and
right.
So I don't think I'm saying anything out of bounds. If you want the full story, I guess come see me. I'm backpedaling like Max Kellerman. Great job, John.
Oh, you should have heard Stephen A. By the way.
Should generate
after
some
Max
buzz.
was done talking.
Yeah.
He came out and just attacked Carr again.
Yeah.
Talked about how bad he played this year and blah blah blah, as if that was the narrative. It had nothing to do with his on the field play. It had to do with his unwillingness to take a hit, but that's
I'll tell a full story. It's not even that bad. Anyway, I worked at production. The guy was a little overly demanding. I actually went and got Starbucks for him. Again, fourth line. That's me. I'm the Brad Hunt of journalism. How about that?
Steve likes that, by the way. He
Eighth
said that's
defenseman.
hilarious.
The fourth line of journalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. We'll continue that. Why don't we just headline the show, the fourth line of journalism? People will
New
laugh
name
out of that.
coming up.
So I get him his coffee. I don't get reimbursed for it, by the way. I didn't get any money back. So I bought Stephen A. Smith a freaking muffin and a coffee from Starbucks. This guy drinking it the whole show. He didn't finish it. He gets up to end the show and like stands up and knocks it over. Okay, and it's like spilling on the floor. Doesn't bother to pick it up. It's like spilling all over the place.
It's a prima donna, man.
And keeps on telling me, hey, I hope you enjoy the show. And I want to say, you know what?
Hey, I hope you clean your garbage. That's what you should have told
You know
him.
what, Stephen A.?
Clean up your mess, Stephen A. We've had enough around here of your mess.
I don't know
Clean
if it
it
was
up.
that good of a story. Final thoughts? Anything?
No.
Yeah.
Good. I've done my ranting, man.
Yeah, and I know I'm on another rant just because it's topical, right? Season tickets. Well, season ticket costs.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And we didn't touch about this at the top of the show, and hopefully you Golden Knights fans or season ticket holders are on here to listen to some of this. And again, tell us what you think about it. I get the Golden Knights need to up their prices because the secondary market is what it is. People are excited about the team. It's a sellout every night. I get that you're pricing out families. I understand there's things happening here. And I get that whole argument where it's an average ticket cost in the NHL, but you can't. And I split it with you, and I split it with a couple other people. I put down my deposit the first day it was possible because I'm a Vegas native, and of course I want to support my community as well. And I don't go to the games myself as a fan. I cover it as a journalist, and I give them away to family members essentially. But day one it was one cost. Entering season 3, 45% more than day one.
I think that's the
biggest
biggest
gouging
issue.
to me.
Right. That's the biggest issue. You can talk about the national average with the NHL, and yeah, Knights kind of sit right in the middle, which means they're about average with what the league is.
Yeah.
Top end, low end. But the jump that they made so quickly to go 45% between season 1 and season 3 is you expect
stunning.
that over the course of 10 years maybe.
Yeah, I would say 3 to 4 seasons, right? 10% a
seasons,
year seems fair. And again, I get their argument. I understand it. I understand what we can sell our tickets for in the secondary market. Right. I get that, but 45% is just excessive, and I'm not happy about it. But we're going to, of course, renew because there's 6,000 people waiting behind me to get those season tickets. So, we'll be back there next season, and I understand, and I love
I'm in again, man. Let's
Matt
go.
Evans says 36% increase for me. And is that 2 years, Matt, or is that 1? I just did the year-to-year, right? And I get, like I ran it at the beginning of the show, I didn't sign the 5 frickin' year agreement. Sorry, I don't have, $5,000 a year to make sure that I can commit to. So credit to you guys for doing that. But,
and they're all talking about it, man. Everybody's getting this. They're all feeling this bump.
Jets did the same thing, and I get it. Again, I'm not going to not renew, but that doesn't mean I can't gripe as a season ticket holder. 45%.
You know what? It's don't have a team at all, which is what we dealt with for 40 years.
That's true.
Or have this, and it's expensive, but I would much prefer to have this because it's a blast. Let's be honest.
Perspective, Matt. Matt says 1 year. 36% 1 year. I just
from last year to this.
It's tough, and I feel bad for the families out there, and it's not going to change anytime soon. I understand Bill Foley's position, and they do great things in the community. It is tough to go to a game, and I understand that. Maybe we'll do a ticket giveaway. I could give away a couple of my tickets towards the end of the season. That might be a nice thing to do. Maybe we'll get Matt to give away some of his tickets.
Oh, no, you stole my game. I'm still bitter about that.
All right, so we'll be back next Thursday. We'll have pizza in-house. We'll have Grimaldi's here.
Yes.
We'll maybe have a few more tweaks to the show, but
maybe some
thanks
cheesecake.
For following along with us here for the ride, Sports Adrenaline 2.0, as we're calling it. We'll see if the Golden Knights have a great second half. Clearly, we can continue that discussion, and it'll be after the Runnin Rebels. So we might
in the
be
meantime, go Rebels. Saturday
week.
against San Diego State. Tuesday, Thomas and Mack. Reno is in town. Get out there, man. Let's see what this team can do with a good crowd behind them.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Again, give us a like here on Sports Adrenaline. We're all local sports all the time. For Matt, I'm John. For Rich Jacovino in the studio, he's got his bug up there, Jacovino and more. It's a great studio if you're ever interested in live streaming. We'll see you next week right here on Sports Adrenaline.